You're lying still in the dark. The clock hits 1 a.m., and your brain decides this is the exact moment to turn on the projector. It skips over your wins to replay a mildly awkward conversation from 3 years ago. In the silence, this minor social slip feels as urgent as a life-or-death crisis. Most people assume this nighttime spiraling indicates an anxiety disorder or a personal flaw. We assume we're more broken or sensitive than those quietly sleeping in the next room. Logic usually fails here. You tell yourself to just stop thinking about it. But at 1 a.m., the logical part of your brain has already left the building. This overthinking is a mechanical side effect of what your brain is doing once the lights go off. It's a shift in your internal operating system triggered by the environment. Your mind is simply operating under a different set of rules because the sun went down. During the day, your brain is saturated with input. Conversations, deadlines, and notifications create a high-density stream of data requiring constant management. Your prefrontal cortex handles this, acting as a traffic controller. It uses logic to sort the noise and keep emotional reactivity in check. This logical controller stays fully occupied while the sun is up, pushing background static to the periphery. Your biology also provides a buffer. Cortisol levels are naturally higher during the day, which helps dampen your emotional response to stress while you navigate your tasks. This explains why many people feel steady and capable during work hours. The structure of your day and internal chemistry work together to suppress an underlying backlog of unresolved emotion. At bedtime, that environment evaporates. The room goes quiet, the external inputs vanish, and without data to sort, the prefrontal cortex powers down. Meanwhile, your cortisol buffer dips to prepare you for sleep, removing the chemical shield that keeps your emotions in check. This vacuum is immediately filled by the default mode network, which activates whenever you aren't focused on a specific task. This network uses the quiet to scan for unresolved threats, replaying emotional loose ends as a survival strategy to rehearse for danger. Without the traffic controller there to apply logic, the network picks up a dormant memory from years ago and treats it as a present-day active emergency. You find yourself mentally drafting apologies to people who aren't upset, or running 2 a.m. simulations of a morning exam, as if rehearsal will change a future outcome. These feelings waited for a quiet enough moment to finally get processed. They were simply sitting in the queue until the noise of the day stopped. Because the regulatory system is offline, nighttime thoughts are measurably more negative and catastrophic than daytime ones. The version of the problem you face at midnight is an unsupervised rough draft. It's an exaggerated perspective that hasn't been vetted by your logical brain. Direct arguments fail because the logical center of the brain is essentially offline. You cannot use reason to silence a system that isn't operating on logic. A more effective approach is to redirect the default mode network's attention by giving it a finite task to chew on before it begins to loop. When you journal or write a to-do list, you externalize the thought. Moving a worry from your internal loop to a physical page signals to the brain that the thread is safely stored and managed. This closure gives the network permission to stop scanning that specific memory for survival. This practice provides the threat scanner with a destination. It occupies the system with something finite so you can actually reach a state of rest. The problem keeping you awake only feels overwhelming because it finally found the silence to make noise. Once the sun rises and the traffic controller returns to work, that same problem will return to its true size.